Hey everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a while. I feel like I said that last time too. It's been just about a month since my last video, before MFF and the holidays. But we made it. It's 2023, and one of my resolutions is to be more regular with posting new read-throughs. Part of that is experimenting with shorter videos that I can finish and upload more frequently. So let's get right into the new format with this next one. Unveiling is a visual novel that I found out about actually just before Halloween, when I was looking for creepy stories to do for my first impression series. Going totally blind into this one, I was pleasantly surprised by the level of polish in the art and writing, especially for a demo build. And there's also some voice acting in the form of character noises and sound effects that was a nice addition. After I started in on this one, I liked it so much that I knew I immediately wanted to give it the full series treatment. I won't say too much more about it for now, except that it really balances a humorous, cozy fantasy feel with some darker surprises. So, if you're into that too, please enjoy this new visual novel written by BlowzyBlue. This is part 1 of the first chapter of Unveiling. No. You can't just do that. Yes, we'll fix this mistake. We have to. There will be nothing left. But not in that way. Just give me some time. It has been enough time since it all began. Their insolence, they don't know that. I can fix this. I just have to go and... You know what will happen if you go there. That's right. What the... We don't know what could... Also, we won't help you. You can't just... We promised not to do that. It is us, or them. In any case, they'll be... And you think that might help you. Don't be on his side. Silence. You have to fix all of this mess, or else... Will he be alone? That's not fair. Fine, I'll do it. I woke up breathing heavily. A nightmare. At least it wasn't the same as usual. I sighed, relieved that those weird dreams are over. A ray of sunshine from the window suddenly hits my eyes. Instinctively, I cover my face with my paw. I notice how the light still passes through my fingers, making my fur shine in the sunlight. Well, here we go. I got up from the bed and started stretching my body, feeling my tail not responding to my movements. A cramp. I slept on it, probably. I laughed when I felt how the blood returned to my tail, giving me those strange tickles. With my tail now working, I turned my head to a small closet next to my bed. I opened a drawer and took out my clothes, the usual, my scarf, a tunic to cover my chest, and some shorts. Just enough to cover most of my body and to feel comfortable. I put on my clothes and stand in front of the mirror. Good morning, Arthur. I smiled at my reflection, feeling totally ready to start a new day and work as always. I groan when I feel that my stomach is empty, so I head towards the kitchen. First, let's get something to eat, I say while rubbing my tummy, further emphasizing how hungry I feel. Where is she? Normally, she comes in right before I can put some clothes on. Right after saying that, a familiar smell reaches my nose. I hear a knock on the door. I smile to myself, knowing who it might be. Coming! I took a detour from the kitchen, heading now to the front door, feeling quite happy. Once there, I grabbed the knob and opened the door. With a smile on her face, she raises her hand to greet me. Good morning, Elfie. Waking up late as usual? I groan because of the stupid nickname that she always uses for me because of my short stature. Still using that nickname? I'm literally just a few inches shorter than you. I crossed my arms and showed my tongue to her in the most childish manner. "Speak a little bit louder. I can't hear you down there." She gives me little pats on my head with a grin on her face. So funny, Aldara. I kept making faces to make the moment even dumber than it already was. We both simply laugh. How old are we again? We're 20, I guess. Aldara was trying not to laugh. Being adults doesn't mean we can't do stupid stuff like when we were cubs. Anyway, sorry for being late. I was training? Yeah. I can smell the sweat, grass, dirt, and... I sniff Aldara once more. Rust, coming from your sword. You should get rid of it and use a new one. I smiled and then headed towards the kitchen to start making breakfast. Jeez, I always forget about your weird ability to identify scents very precisely. It's a little bit scary how good your nose is. Aldara shivers as she takes a seat near my table. It's not like I could smell your soul or anything. She looked at me with a raised eyebrow and crossed arms, as if she was still waiting for the joke. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, they're already here. I leave the eggs boiling while I make my way to the door for a second time. How do you know? Before she could finish the sentence, I playfully point to my nose. Keep forgetting about it. She scratched her cheek, a little bit embarrassed. I rushed over when I heard the door being desperately knocked on. That little pup. I opened the door and suddenly a pair of little paws grabbed me by the neck. Aha! Surprise attack! Whoa. The little creature seems to be having fun hanging from my neck, laughing playfully. If I was an assassin, you'd be so dead right now. I saw the little fox in front of me. It's not nice killing other animals, Matthew, I said sarcastically. Are you sure I'm Matthew? He gave me a defiant gaze. Meanwhile, his twin brother Jaden stood silently behind him. He noticed I was looking at him, and so he gave me a warm smile and a greeting with his paw. The two foxes were waiting for me to do some kind of magic trick. You really want me to do it? Jaden and Matthew nodded at the same time. One so gentle and sweet, the other one always full of energy. Use your weird dog powers. Matthew was excited to see some magic. I can't help but laugh at the silly phrases that he usually says. You are the only one besides Mom that can distinguish between us. Jaden was trying to convince me. Fine, I can't say no to you two. I separated the twins so I could fully see them both. It's really easy to know who is who just by their personalities alone, but I know it may be difficult to differentiate them at first glance. I began to sniff around them in a somewhat exaggerated way, so Matthew could really feel the magic. It tickles. After I finished smelling them, I noticed the shampoo, soap, and flowery essence from Jaden's body. On the other hand, Matthew smelled almost like his brother, but with a touch of candy and sugar scent instead. You're Jaden, and you, Matthew. I point at them respectively. Whoa, you're right! Oh. Yay! Both seemed to be pleased with my magic trick. So, are my pair of cute little foxes already here? Aldara appeared behind me. Aww. Oh, I could eat both of you entirely with kisses, she said while pulling the twins' cheeks with a motherly tone. One that I usually find kind of dumb. Matthew really likes Aldara's attention, but Jaden always gets embarrassed by it. The twins look so funny with their faces stretched by her. You should wait to eat me with kisses on our wedding. Matthew gave her a hopeful smile. His statement caught me off guard, but it seemed like it was funny enough for Aldara because she was trying not to laugh. Where do you want to marry? At the beach? Oh, we could even ask for Great Bodkin to bless our wedding. Matthew asked Aldara with a determined look on his face. I'll give you points for your bravery and sincerity. Ladies really like that, but you're too young to even think of that. I'm 10. I'm a full grown-up. Oh, of course you are, Pipsqueak. Oh. The panther ruffled his hair and took him to the kitchen. Matthew seemed disappointed, having been rejected at such a young age. Jaden and I looked at each other and simply laughed at Matthew's attempt to marry Aldara. Let's get to the kitchen table, I'm almost done with the breakfast. The little fox followed me to the kitchen, where Aldara and Matthew were already on their seats. They were talking to each other, laughing and making the table feel less lonely. Being with these 3 dummies almost makes me feel like I didn't lose anything. Wait. Did I lose something? I lost. We want food! We want food! Matthew's voice snaps me out of my mind. Don't be so loud, Matthew. Jaden, annoyed, stretched his brother's cheek, but Matthew was too hungry to complain. I rushed to the kitchen to finish the food. The eggs were ready. I made some tomato sauce to put on top of them, accompanied by some beans with a little fancy bundle of rice on the side, and voila! Breakfast for 4 mouths, done! I gave each one a plate, and we started with the feast. It smells amazing. Enjoy your meal, everybody. Matthew had already eaten half of the meal when Jaden said that. Aldara and I grinned and started to eat. We enjoyed the meal and discussed various topics. I love this quaint, everyday interaction. Hey, Arthur, you want me to help you with the usual? The little fox took my attention. Yeah, pretty please? I can't believe you asked a 10-year-old to do the math for you. She shook her head, disappointed. I covered Jaden's ears. Don't listen to the mean panther. You and your brain are my best employees. Jaden looked at Aldara with a bashful smile. I thought I was your... birth employee. Matthew groaned with his mouth full of food. Mom says you mustn't talk with your mouth full. Sorry. Matthew lowered his head, still with his mouth full. Of course you are too, Matthew. No one can carry heavy boxes or take orders as fast as you. Yay! He turned back to his happy usual self. You really hit rock bottom with child exploitation. Hey, I'm not exploiting them. Look, they are very happy and well fed. Matthew nodded happily, yet again with his mouth full. Don't worry, Aldara. We're happy to help. Arthur gives us good company since Mom is working all day. Also, we really like spending time with Arthur. And his food is really good. Matthew finally seems to be done with his meal, no longer with his mouth full. Aw, Jaden, that's so sweet. I love you. Aldara couldn't act less motherly with these two. Again, maybe a little too much for me. Hey, get away from my future wife. Matthew threatened his brother with his spoon. Aldara and I laughed at the silly scene of the twins. Once we all finished the breakfast, Aldara and I started to wash the dishes. It's like our everyday routine. Meanwhile, Matthew was cleaning the tables and sweeping the restaurant's floor. Jaden, on the other hand, was doing math on the table, writing all the earnings and expenses from this week. And as far as that was going, things weren't looking too good this week. There were fewer and fewer customers in this restaurant. I mean, my restaurant. Everything went wild since that happened. Everyone, they fear me. The disappearances, the curse, and that was all my morning with Dad. Aldara sighs. Honestly, I hadn't listened to anything that she'd said. Stupid thoughts. Arthur, you dumbass, say something to her. Oh, that's crazy. You weren't listening to anything I was saying, were you? Fuck. Oh, yeah, you're right. I confessed with shame. Is there something wrong, Arthur? Her words took me by surprise. I was fully expecting her to be mad, but she looked worried instead. No, just lost in my thoughts as usual. I'm sorry. Don't be, it's okay. She smiled at me and then kept on washing the dishes. Now I feel bad. God damn it, Arthur. You're dumb. I'll try to lighten things up. What will the hero of the town be doing today? Aldara snickered at the really smart and sweet nickname I give her. Hey, it's no joke. You spend all day protecting the town residents, even risking your own life. How touching, Elfie. She threw some water on her eyes to simulate tears. I groaned with a little blush on my face. Maybe it was a little bit too corny of me. Talking seriously, today I'm investigating some classified stuff. Aldara closed the tab. As I was saying, Dad is increasing the security these days because... She hesitated, leaving an awkward silence. It's still happening, isn't it? She looked away, trying to leave the subject to die. Just please be careful. Aldara looked at me, relieved, and nodded. Everything's gonna be fine, Arthur. I promise. She leaned on me and rubbed her face with mine to reassure me. Once everything was done, Aldara took her stuff to leave. Well, time for duty. She sighed, a little tired, but gave the twins a big smile anyways. Be safe, Aldara. See you later, beloved future wife. Matthew shouted with the greatest smile on his face. Let me walk you out, Aldi. We walked to the main entrance. Arthur. She stopped abruptly and looked at me seriously. Could you come with me to the graveyard tonight? Her mood change startled me and gave me a bad feeling about it. I have a night shift, so I want to take the opportunity to visit Mom. Aldara was trying to put on a strong front, but her tail moving side to side revealed that she was nervous. It must still be very difficult for her. Of course I do. I grabbed her shoulders and gave her a reassuring smile. Thank you, Arthur. Don't mention it, mean panther. Aldara showed me her tongue to continue the silly moment that we'd had this morning. Well, take care and look after those two. I nodded as she said her last goodbye. Then I made my way back to the kitchen. This is for your own good. What did you... Aldara closed the door before I could say anything. Okay. That made me feel weird. Arthur! A paw took my attention away from the door. Oh, Jaden, are you done with the bills? Yes. Do you mind helping me check it out? Of course not. Let's go back to the table. I walked with Jaden to the wooden table where he had all the papers, bills, and things that I still have a hard time understanding. I have to admit, I felt dumb letting a 10-year-old do the bills for me, but he was also 10 times better doing math than I am. He really is a smart little fox. Jaden sat, and I did the same in front of him. Then he extended his paw, and I held it with mine. Thanks. The little fox had this quirk of grabbing the paw of someone close to him. It made him feel more sure of himself. It's cute, but sad, because this thing started when his dad was a victim of that. I know this must still be dumb for you. Sorry. Are you really saying that while your brother's right there dancing with the broom? Probably pretending it's Aldara. We both looked at Matthew. There he was, giving his all on that imaginary dance floor. We tried to suppress our giggles so we didn't interrupt Matthew's fantasy. Fine, I get it. But still, I promised to work on this thing I have. Hey, you don't have to promise me anything. You do you at your own pace, and of course, do it for yourself only. You're still a cub, though. I don't think you should be worrying about this kind of stuff. I wish I wasn't just a cub. Jaden whispered, a little crestfallen. I knew exactly what he meant by that. Jaden, you know that wasn't your fault. Anyway, you're right, Arthur. Let's finish this so you can start things up today at the restaurant. The little fox smiled at me so that we wouldn't bring it up again. Sure. I forced a smile to comply. Jaden proceeded to verify everything. A couple of times I heard him say things like, this is wrong, or this is okay, but always holding on to my paw. Your paw. It's cold. Is everything okay? Oh, it's nothing. Trust me. Keep going, please. I laughed nervously. I was still thinking about the meeting with Aldara tonight. It was weird. I didn't know why I felt uneasy. Was I exaggerating? Was it just that graveyards scared me? Well, graveyards are generally scary, even more at night. However, I don't think it has anything to do with that. Well, she promised me that everything would be okay, and I trusted her. I really trust her. The day went on as usual. Few customers, orders, dishes, a little bit of salt over here, a little bit of pepper over there. Taste this and smell that. A day like any other. I sipped some soup from a dish I was making. Tastes fine, but fragrance is important. I threw some bay leaves into the broth and let it settle for some minutes while I focused on another dish. 2 potatoes, a pinch of salt. I tried the soup again. Something's missing. Or maybe not. I don't know. Arthur, is the veggie soup ready yet? Matthew watched me from the kitchen's door. Oh, yeah. I quickly poured the soup into a bowl and handed it to Matthew. It smells delicious, said Matthew cravingly, a little bit of saliva coming out of his mouth. Hey, it's for the customer, not for you. Matthew giggled and quickly went to deliver the dish. Delicious, huh? Then why don't I feel that way? If it's so delicious, why isn't this place packed like it used to be? The table's full. The crowded atmosphere, but pleasant nonetheless. Orders everywhere. Deep inside of me, I knew the answer very well. I inhaled deeply, filling my lungs with as much oxygen as I could, before I let it out slowly. Just think about it calmly, Arthur. None of this is your fault. Just keep working and smiling. Everything will be fine soon. Everything will be fine. Everything. The sun was starting to set, and I still couldn't sell enough to make up for the day. This sucks. However, I remain positive despite it all. I know I can handle this. Suddenly, a bitter and familiar smell hits my nose. Oh, great. It's him again. Or maybe someone that smells just like him. Please? Arthur, the bossy bird is here. He's looking for you. He says that your presence is required immediately. Matthew whispered, giggling a little, saying that last part with a high-pitched voice, mimicking the bossy bird. My nose didn't lie then. Tell him that I'll be there in a second. Also, don't call him that. It would be bad if he heard you. I tried to hide my smirk by half-heartedly scolding the little fox. I admit, it's kind of funny, but it's wrong to make fun of others. Matthew giggled again, knowing full well that I enjoy when he makes fun of the bossy bird. But I repeat, it's wrong. I walked to the entrance of my small restaurant, currently empty, to meet the animal I least wanted to see today. The peacock grumbled once I was in his presence. Hey, Ziliaris, how are you today? I put on a fake smile, hiding how little I wanted to see him. Finally, I have so many more important things to do than wasting my time in your little pigsty. He looked at my restaurant with quite a bit of distaste. Yeah, his personality is the same as always. Could you skip the insults and get straight to the point? I said, crossing my arms, leaning against the entrance door. Well, that's perfect for me. I have to get ready for the Festival of Eden. I had completely forgotten that that's in a few weeks. Everything has to be perfect for the arrival of the great Bodkin. Of course, I'm the only one competent enough to make everything look flawless. As I listened to Ziliaris' endless narcissism, I heard Jaden and Matthew chuckling. They were probably making fun of Ziliaris like they usually do. As I expected, Matthew was copying Ziliaris' beak movements, while the peacock continued his unending talk about how perfect everything needed to be. Matthew? Stop. Jaden suppressed his laughter, not wanting Ziliaris to notice the show being staged on his behalf because of Matthew. I know it's very childish of me to laugh at 2 children making mischief, but Matthew's imitation of Ziliaris is so funny and accurate, I can't help but watch. So, this is what all the fuss was about. Our show collapsed when Ziliaris entered the restaurant and saw the two foxes making fun of him. Crap, I didn't realize when he walked in. I should have known these two brats would be here. Jaden lowered his gaze in embarrassment at being found out. On the other hand, Matthew just stuck his tongue out at Ziliaris playfully. And you also got involved in their silly game? How little maturity you have for a cat your age. He looked at me with such disgust on his face. Don't be a party pooper, Ziliaris. We were just playing and imitating such an elegant role model as yourself. Matthew said sarcastically, then put his paw back on the back of his head to imitate Ziliaris' feathers, which stood on end when he got angry. I'm going... Are you really going to fight with two children? What little maturity for a bird of your age, Ziliaris. Ziliaris took a deep breath and cleared his throat to return to his graceful posture. Please, excuse my brother, Ziliaris. We know that wasn't right. Surprisingly, Jaden got up from his seat and apologized to the bird. At least one of you is polite. Ziliaris kept grumbling and checking his list, which I only just realized he'd had with him this whole time. Well, we have to go, Arthur. It's dangerous to be away from home when it's dark out. But I wanted to keep playing with the chicken. I noticed that Ziliaris wrote faster and angrier after hearing the little boy's comment. Matthew, stop it. Jaden pulled on his brother's pointy ear.
Ouch!
Okay, fine. The little fox got bummed out. Thanks a lot for your help. It's great to have you two here as always. I gave them both a goodbye hug. I'll be outside waiting for you to finish with your family scene. I heard Matthew stick his tongue out over my shoulder to mock Ziliaris. Once he was gone, I separated from the twins and looked at them. You both be very careful on your way home, please. Come on, Arthur. We don't live that far. Besides, look at these babies. No one will mess with us. The little fox flexed his arm proudly, but no muscle stood out. Then I looked at Jaden. Take care of him, please. Matthew puffed in embarrassment. Don't worry. Jaden took his brother's paw. I won't let anything bad happen to him. Hey, I should be the one saying that. Matthew was still a little upset. Jaden just giggled as he watched his brother throw a tantrum. The three of us left the restaurant and saw Ziliaris waiting for me impatiently. See ya, Ziliaris, said the twins in unison, one obviously louder than the other. About time. You two go get your fleas off or something before I lose my patience. Ziliaris cried in pain as Matthew plucked one of his feathers and then ran as fast as he could. His brother was just behind him trying to keep up. His scream was loud enough that his voice rasped, to the point of sounding just like a cackle. Thanks for the gift, Ziliaris. The sly little fox yelled at him as he fled, dragging his brother behind him. The nearby animals that had watched the entire scene struggled to hold back their laughter, knowing well that Ziliaris was an authority figure. When he managed to notice them anyway, he visibly began to blush. You spoiled brat! Ziliaris shouted furiously. Ziliaris, it's just a little fox, I said between chuckles. Do you know how long it takes for feathers to grow? Dunno. I'm not a chicken. Peacock! I'm a peacock, you uncultured swine. Lord Ziliaris, are you okay? We heard you screaming. Two guards who had been accompanying Ziliaris suddenly appeared. The bear and the wolf seemed concerned by the explosive nature of the peacock. Silence, you fools! The guards stood firm and fearful. Poor things, I pity them. Ziliaris took a deep breath, again trying to calm his anger. Give this commoner the bag! The bear quickly grabbed the bag on the side of his armor and handed it to me somewhat awkwardly. Confused, I opened the cloth bag. My eyes widened at the sight of a large number of gold coins. Ziliaris, don't get it wrong. This was sent to you by the great Bodgan. he said pridefully. As if he hadn't already done enough for you. Ziliaris huffed in disgust. But this is too much. I can't accept such an amount. I still couldn't believe how much money I had in my paws. How dare you try to refuse Bodkin's blessing, you ungrateful cat? I didn't say anything. I could only look away with some guilt. But obviously I'm not giving you all of this for free. I looked at Ziliaris expectantly, waiting for an explanation for the amount of gold he just gave me. Ziliaris opened the scroll he had been carrying all this time, and cleared his throat to make a speech. By decree of the great Bodkin, you will be one of the cooks who will prepare each and every dish that is to be served at the Festival of Eden. He ended his statement with some sort of distaste in his mouth. The nearby animals that heard Ziliaris' words began to murmur among themselves in astonishment. He got chosen? He will serve the food? What is the great Bodkin thinking? Shh, don't question him. It has to be some kind of joke. With my arms, I tried to cover the bare parts of my abdomen from all the stares I was getting. There being better and finer cooks, he ended up choosing you. He huffed in disagreement. In any case, this is your stipulated payment for providing your services at the festival. Being your first time participating in this, I recommend you get yourself a more... He raised an eyebrow, looking at me from head to toe. Decent attire. I don't want you to humiliate the other chefs by bringing such rags into the kitchen. Me, cooking for thousands of animals. That's insane. Still, this is too much money. It's all so sudden. I don't know if I'm ready for such responsibility. I can't turn this down, though. Well, time for me to leave. I expect very little from you, so don't push yourself too hard. Without paying any mind to his provocations, I snapped out of my trance. Wait, Ziliaris! I yelled before the peacock walked away along with his guards. Now what? Ashamed, I swallowed hard and looked at him. Tell Bodkin that I really appreciate his help. Ziliaris huffed pridefully. You owe him your life. Don't forget that, dishwasher. Ziliaris left, leaving me with a hole in my stomach and a knot in my throat. I know that. I know that I owe him everything. I said to myself with pain in my chest. The animals that had gathered only to witness the scene scattered. Some regarded me as a freak, while others avoided eye contact. I grabbed the sack of money tightly and closed the door of my restaurant. Time to close. And that's it for part 1. There's definitely more than meets the eye here. A bit of a spooky mystery indeed, with the cryptic conversation at the beginning, and the sporadic moments of darkness and glitchiness that creep in on Arthur throughout his day. A strange council, a mysterious disaster, characters who seem to know more than they're letting on, and while it's a fairly common trope to open a story with a ton of unanswered questions, I still found myself pretty well invested in the mystery. I think a lot of that really comes from the characterization of the cast so far. Writing comedy, just in general, is notoriously difficult, so I really appreciated the wit and sarcasm in the narration that, despite being a medieval fantasy setting with some elements of mystery and mysticism, gives Unveiling a more relaxed, casual, and relatable feel. It's of course always going to be subjective, but I personally felt like the humor landed in a way that was very natural and enjoyable to read. That kind of thing can definitely be hit or miss for different people, and I'd be curious to know what you all thought of it. Full disclosure, I've been helping out here and there with proofreading and coding for Unveiling to show my support for a fledgling story that I'm already really excited about, and it's been interesting to sort of see the process of how this VN gets put together. Getting to chat with Blowzy, the creator, also spun off some interesting ideas and opportunities. He's the voice of Arthur in-game, and he's done some other VA and fan dubbing himself. I'll have a link here and in the description below, so you can check out some of his other work outside of this visual novel. For my next video, I'll be jumping back over to another installment of Remember the Flowers. I've got something really special that I'm excited to share for that one, so I'm eager to get back to it. And also before I end up too far behind the team's update schedule on that one. I appreciate everyone's patience and support as I work towards getting back to posting regularly here. Much love and thanks as always, and I'll see you all next time.